Hello and welcome to this taste challenge. Now, I have two American blended whiskeys. This is Classic Club. Can't even find out when it was introduced. Now, it says it's trademarked if you look right there. See right there, trademark. But I can't find any trademark data. I looked up U.S. Trademark Office, so it's strange that they don't have it listed. But whatever the case, I bought this at Total Wine and More. It's barrel matured. No joke. It's a whiskey. Whiskey is required to be matured in oak barrels. So it says aged and mellowed in oak barrels. Okay, that's very interesting because all whiskey in America is aged and mellowed in oak barrels. So that's, like I said, doesn't say much. The timeless spirit of the cocktail. It's got the typical, stereotypical American blended whiskey color scheme: brown, gold, white, cream color. I could go get all of my American blended whiskeys, line them up, and you'll notice they have invariably, not always, but usually the same color scheme: brown, gold, and cream color. The Albertsons American blended whiskey, well, that's all gone. Same color scheme: brown, gold, white. Here's the competitor, Texas 254. Same thing: brown, cream, white, gold. I can't explain it, but I know what I'm looking at. They all have the same color scheme. Bellows. Haven't brought that in yet. It's funny that they follow that trend. Okay, so that's the competitor. Is this a private label for Total Wine? It appears to be. It's listed under Spirits Direct, but sometimes Spirits Direct, their private label is not always private label. Sometimes you'll see Spirits Direct, but you'll find it in other stores. But usually, no. Usually it's something for Total Wine. So this was probably developed by the Sazerac company for Total Wine and More. Now it says I.W.A. Distilling Company Limited, which is an alias for Buffalo Trace. Okay, I mean, it's just a fact. The founders company: Legacy Distilling, I.W.A. Distilling, County Line Distilling, and so forth. They use a lot of what the U.S. government calls assumed names. Now it says American blended whiskey. It looked like the label was torn there, but I don't see any. Yeah, they might have glued it back. I don't know. It's weird. I didn't notice that when I bought it. They might have glued it back at the factory because they didn't glue it back properly. The underside is on the outside. All right, CC, Semper Delectamentum. I guess that means always delicious. You ought to read the reviews of this on Total Wine's website. You get a kick out of that. Rubesy Boobsy says hello again. Paul Cardenas says you still got that Classic Club. Dang, yeah, I got most of it. Look how much is left. 80% of it's left. It's very dark brown. I would call it tan. No, it's just brown. That's it. It's just a brown appearance. Not tan, it's just brown. They don't say anything about coloring added, and they don't say anything about flavoring added. And that company is usually pretty good. If they add coloring, they'll say it. If they add flavorings, natural flavors, they'll say it. And that's my experience with them. But they're not required to say it, so who knows? Maybe they don't say it on here and they do add it. But I'm just saying, typically they will say that. And you can't say it's because of Spirits Direct, because after all, it's making a weird reflection. After all, a lot of the Spirits Direct products do say natural colors and flavors added. They do. And if they're from Sazerac. Okay, so anyway, I.W.A. Distilling. You get some of these at Walmart too. It'll say I.W.A. Distilling. If you go on a Buffalo Trace tour, are you going to see this? No, because they probably do this at 2 a.m. when there's no tourists around. All right, so we'll pour that in a minute. Now here's Texas 254. There's 254 counties in Texas. There was a website listing, and then the whole website went away, like mysteriously disappeared 2 weeks ago. Not only that, the phone number, the map location, everything for this company evaporated. Backwoods Craft Distillery. So my thinking is they might have gone out of business. I don't know if their sales were ever really that good. They made a pickle flavor vodka, which seemed to be sort of popular, but it might have been sort of popular, like where a handful of people bought it, but they didn't really buy it, you know. So I don't know. I have never seen this except for one store, Broadway Liquors, in New Orleans, Louisiana. So that's a bad sign right there. Like you never saw this anywhere except that one store. Big glass bottle now, nice. 1999, 1999. Age 2 years. Age 2 years. 80 proof, and it's blended at an 80 to 20 blend ratio. 80% grain neutral spirits, 20% straight whiskey, which to me it tastes like straight corn whiskey, which is allowed. Doesn't have to be bourbon. So 4-to-1 ratio. That's really the ratio. 4 parts to 1 part. Not really 80-20. 4 parts. 4 parts unaged corn distillate. 1 part straight whiskey. Burley Sullivan says, you. Paul Cardenas says, what's the difference between American blended and Canadian blended? Well, besides the fact that they're from 2 different countries, which I know you knew that already, the main difference is American blended whiskey is allowed to have up to 80% unaged, never goes in a barrel to age, corn distillate. It doesn't have to be corn. It could be any grain neutral spirit. It could be wheat neutral spirit, rice neutral spirit, or any kind of neutral spirit. Grain, though. It has to be from grain. And they're allowed to do that. Whereas in Canada, the grain spirit would have to be aged for 3 years in oak barrels, which would then make it whiskey. So in Canada, all the components must be aged at least 3 years, and in the U.S., up to 80% can be unaged. Like I said, allowed, not required, because it just depends on the product. Like this one here, it says 80% grain neutral spirit. So this one is also unaged, 80%. Otherwise, they're the same. I mean, you know, they can both have coloring added. They can both have flavors added. They don't really have to tell you about it. So now some people are ignorant and they'll say Canadian whiskey is nothing but brown vodka. Well, it might be brown from food coloring. Caramel. That's the only coloring allowed, caramel coloring. But it's not vodka. If they knew what vodka was, they would realize they don't know what they're talking about. But that's people trying to be flip and make it look like they know stuff, you know, on the internet. If you think grain neutral spirits and vodka is the same thing, you might want to learn, because they may be related. Maybe they both can be distilled from grain. But grain neutral spirits must be stored in wooden vessels, which means it's going to contact wood. So it is going to theoretically age, assuming you let it age. It must be stored in oak vessels. Oak, I think the government website says oak. It does say that. Vodka can never touch wood, ever, under any circumstances. May it touch wood. It must be stored in stainless steel vessels. Vodka must have the aroma and flavor of nothing. It's supposed to be, this is theory more than fact, it's supposed to have no aroma and no flavor. Now, a lot of times it will have some subtle aromas and flavors because it's not perfect to get it so neutral. But furthermore, vodka must be filtered in through charcoal, not in charcoal, through charcoal. It doesn't say if you want to or if you feel like it. If you read your regulations for vodka, it must be filtered through charcoal. Only charcoal. Now, whether you want to filter it 5 times, 10 times, whatever, different companies do different filtering steps. It's up to you. All right. Grain neutral spirits, there is no regulation that I've ever noticed about filtering. Maybe it doesn't have to be filtered at all. Um, furthermore, vodka can be produced from other substances beyond grain, potatoes, grapes, so a legume, a fruit. All right, so and you know Canadian whiskey is no way made from potatoes. It is no way made from grapes. Uh, it's not 7 times distilled or 5 times distilled, or with the cheap vodkas 4 times distilled. So it might be filtered through charcoal if that's what they choose to do. So to call it brown vodka is really an embarrassment to your channel, really, if you want to think about it, because it's whiskey. Canadian whiskey is all whiskey. Like I just said earlier, American whiskey is allowed to have up to 80% grain neutral spirits. Now, enough said. All right. So, yeah, I better not look down, because if I see the pale appearance, I'm going to know it's the Texas 254. That light corn. Look like corn. It looks like corn whiskey to me. Okay, so Classic Club, don't even bother looking for a website, because you're never going to find it. Now, I can show you what Total Wine says about it, because Total Wine, it's kind of like their brand, I say kind of like, because I might turn around tomorrow and see it in somebody else's store. But I haven't seen that yet. Joe Hill says big debut for Skanes Saturday. Yeah, Paul Skanes. Got that right. Everybody will be watching, I suppose. Let's see, where's Total Wine? Okay, here's Total Wine and More. And Classic Club is a line of liquor. They have Classic Club Gin, Classic Club Vodka, Classic Club Canadian. It's one of those things that you see like Fleischmann's Gin, Fleischmann's Rum, and everything. Okay, so here we go with the screen share, just to show you in case you're interested. Won't do it for long. Okay, so we got Classic Club Silver Rum, Classic Club Gold Rum, Classic Club Gold Tequila, Spice Rum, Vodka, the bigger bottle of, there's the blended whiskey I was telling you about, gin, gin, Canadian whiskey, VSOP brandy, which I have, VSOP brandy, Bankers Club. I'll be bringing that in soon enough. So Buffalo Trace, Sazerac, whatever you want, they do this for a lot of different store chains. They got Classic Club for Wine and More. They got WD, obviously, for Winn-Dixie, WD Liquors. They've got Grand Legacy. They had it. I think that's going for another company. They got Caliber for Walmart, although releases it to other stores if there's overflow. I guess they say as long as we get a cut, we don't care. All right, let's go to Classic Club. So there's a Spirits Direct. It's kind of like their house brand. $15.99. Now that's pretty low for a big bottle of whiskey, right? The Texas 254 was $19.99. So we're looking at $4. There's the bottle, the big bottle. Same color scheme though, brown, gold, white. They're showing martini glasses, CC Class Club, a shield. It's like, it's not a classic, and you'll never see it in a club. But that's the one thing about these brands. They're so not what they claim to be. But and then the descriptions are funny to read. An American classic. This whiskey has been masterfully to produce a smooth and flavorful spirit, perfect for many different cocktails like a Manhattan or a whiskey sour. Product details. Is it mild or very mild on the scale? Is it delicate or rich? They say it's delicate. Pretty delicate, meaning bland. I don't think that's incorrect. Okay. And the ratings gets a 3.8 out of 5. Well, when you think about it, 76 out of 100, that's not really bad. 32 ratings, 76. They're giving it a C, like, it's okay. A month ago, somebody says it's barely okay for cheap whiskey. But then also 2 months ago, somebody said it has a price that can't be beat. So you get, different opinions. Okay. Here we go. So we are looking at a $4 difference. I'm thinking that when I bought it, it was $14.99, but I really do think it was $15.99, and that was 2 years ago. So I think the price hasn't actually gone up. I know the Classic Club Canadian was $13.99. That's a good. That's that's pretty low, right? $13.99 for whiskey, but it's the truth. Anyway, let's go with the aroma. I'm gonna go out there painting after lunch. I'm not gonna go paint right now, but it won't be long. All right. It just smell like corn whiskey. I'll be honest. Anything, anything that would make you think it would be Jim Beam or Jack Daniels? No. The corn part, yeah, but there's no charred oak. There's no richness like they say like I just showed you. It's very delicate. A polite word for bland, not rich. This has even less aroma on the other hand. And that's a lot of corn. Ooh, sweet corn. Mm. Okay, so aroma, it's questionable. I'm not sure. Appearance, well, one is dark brown, dark, but not dark brown, just brown. The other one is very pale straw or golden, like corn, almost to corn husks. So now, which is better on appearance? Hard to say because that's a personal issue. Like, well, I like lighter colored things, and but I like darker colored things. Well, it's doesn't mean it's better or worse, just preference. So the appearance is a tie. The aroma is a tie. So right now, that means Classic Club is winning because it's $4 cheaper. It has to. Texas 254 would have to run far ahead of it to win because it's $4 more. Penny saved is a penny earned, right? Save $4, so you save it. All right, taste, cheers. That is sugar water. Sweet corn. Oh man, look. It does taste like bourbon though. The aroma, no, but the flavor, you could give that to somebody cold, like they never know what it is. I don't mean temperature cold, just say, try this. And they would say, I know this bourbon. That's what they would start saying. I know this bourbon. It's so vanilla. It's so vanilla. I think I know it's then they start naming. Now it might be made with up to 20% straight bourbon, and very likely it is made with up to 20% straight bourbon. But like I said, it could be corn whiskey, but it ain't no bourbon. Very vanilla sugar corn sugar. Oh, you ever tried Karo? That's that corn syrup with vanilla in it. People use it to bake. Some people put it on pancakes, though. True story. But it tastes kind of like that. Let's go over here. I'm talking about the light Karo, the clear one, not the dark. Oh, well, now this one's like corn starch and vanilla and a little honeysuckle nectar. Well, they don't taste the same. Okay, let's see about the body. Medium body, I think. Yes, that's medium body. It's not super light, but then it's definitely not heavy. The finish is semi-sweet. I think a really good bourbon would be super dry, not sweet at all. But this one's very oaky. Yeah, they're probably using charred oak, straight bourbon, maybe like cast off Buffalo Trace. I'm not even joking about that. You say, well, Buffalo Trace aged 6 to 9 years. I know, or 6 to 8 years, something like that. I think the lady on the phone told me 6 to 10 years though. It's like extra age. It's not just aged 3 years and they bottle it. It's aged pretty good, a long time. But and that's $24.99 for a regular bottle over here. But I was talking to her on the phone, Buffalo Trace, one of their representatives, and she said, I said, if it doesn't come out right, did they just put it in a blend? She said, okay, we get a lot of business off our blended. She called them blended bourbons, but it's really a blend using bourbon, but she called it blended bourbon. She said like Kentucky Dale and what's another big one from them? Kentucky Dale and that's the big one, but can't remember now. Well, Seagram's 83 now, but I don't think it's big. But Kentucky Dale, that's a pretty big seller, yeah. She said no, they don't necessarily blend it into a blended whiskey. She said they do it, of course, all the time. She said, but sometimes it's so bad they dump it out. She said sometimes it comes out so bad they just dump it down the drain and they don't blend it with anything. Now, she didn't say that was common. That's not a common thing. That might happen once every 10 years, but she says sometimes they don't blend it off and sell it. They just dump it out. It's so bad. Now, another thing, if you get Kentucky Dale, you'll notice it's very light. That is a light. The label's yellow. It's almost like they're trying to go up against mellow corn or something because that is light, light, light. And yeah, you'll see it around this town. Not too much. Maybe at a couple of stores like I think Circle K always has it. Yeah, but if you go into New Orleans, oh, they got it. Liter glass bottles, 750 glass bottles, the little 375 plastics, the 200 milliliter plastics, the 1,750 milliliter plastic. Ain't no way people are buying that all day long if it's terrible. You say, but that's a bunch of old drunks. They live on the street. No, yeah, but they got a lot of other options. See what I'm saying? They don't have to buy Kentucky Dale. They got McCormick, which is usually $1 cheaper per bottle. So why wouldn't they buy that if it's all about getting loaded? And I guess vodka, gin, whiskey wouldn't matter. They're all about the same price at that level, $6.99, something like that. So there's got to be a reason they keep buying Kentucky Dale. I have had it, and I've done reviews with it, but I had a small bottle. I should go buy a liter of it, maybe. I could do that. I don't know. I think that's the Texas 254, but I'm not sure yet. But let's see. That's too much bourbon wood. There's too much oak. There is too much oak over here to be Texas 254. There is no way. So I think it's that. Now this does not say flavoring added, and it does not say coloring added. So following Sazerac's Buffalo Trace's obvious pattern, then I would assume it does not have any coloring or flavoring. I may be wrong, but I don't know why they would break the pattern. Tell you the truth, this is $4 cheaper, and it does seem to have a little bit more flavor. I like that bourbon charred oak. I think they're probably using a really strong bourbon. Now, I'm not saying they're using Pappy Van Winkle. That didn't come out right. I'm not saying, I'm not saying they're using Pappy Van Winkle 18-year age, and they were like, it doesn't taste right. Make Classic Club with it. I don't know if they're going that far, but oh, it's probably one of those. I don't think it's a weeded. I don't think it's like Weller or what's that other weeded? But I just think it's one of their standard bourbons. You say, what about Benchmark? Well, now you see, now now you're talking. Yeah, it could be something like Benchmark that didn't come out right. So they blended it with corn spirits, grain neutral spirits, and what? Bottled it. And of course, Benchmark has no coloring or flavoring, and it's dark enough. I mean, go buy a bottle of Benchmark. It is pretty dark for some reason. It's only aged 3 years, but they might use a heavy char, alligator char. So, well, I'm going to say that this is the Classic Club. And it is. Now that puts me at 4 wins, 2 losses. And I think I'm going to keep getting wins. I think it's going to keep happening. At first, it was hard to pin down the flavor. It's like confusing a little bit. But now I'm starting to really catch on to this flavor, this sweet corn, which I like. I like sweet corn. I like corn, any type of corn. But or as you call it, maize in Europe. But this definitely has that kind of, I think, straight corn whiskey flavor. Although it's not straight, but I think they're using that in it. I don't think they're using bourbon. I really don't. But anyway, I can't prove it. I could never prove it. Yeah, it's all right. Should you buy it for $19.99? Yeah, I can't see why not. But on the other hand, you could save $4 and buy this, and it has a little bit better flavor, I think. So it's not glass though. So some people take issue with plastic. Well, that's up to you. If you want to pay $4 more, I don't think it's making a difference, but you think it is. But anyway, yeah. So I think Classic Club is the winner today. So cheers to Buffalo Trace Sazerac for Classic Club. Come into a store probably not close to you unless you live near a Total Wine and More. So is it bad like some of these reviewers say? I don't know what they're talking about. I'll just be honest. I don't know what they're talking about. They're talking about how nasty it is. It's horrible. I hate it. It tastes terrible. It's like shoe polish. It's like nail polish remover. It doesn't taste like any of those things. It doesn't taste like glue. It doesn't taste like airplane glue. To me, it just tastes like standard kind of run-of-the-mill whiskey, which is fine. Would I seek it out? Clearly, no. Would I recommend it? Depends on what you're using it for. If you're going to have a parade party, like a parade passes in your neighborhood, like the Independence Day parade, and going to have a lot of people over there drinking prodigious amounts of your liquor that you bought. Yeah, let them have this. They won't hate it. They'll mix it with Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper anyway. So what the heck? Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. As a wedding gift or, like a special gift to somebody, no one is stupid enough to think that that's going to be appropriate. To sit down by the fireplace and sip on this in the evening and think about the day's event, you're not going to get something like that. I mean, you just not. But for a basic utilitarian purpose whiskey, it's fine. There's no problem with it. Don't believe all the lies. And I'm not even saying that people are lying, really. On the other hand, I'm not saying that they're not lying, but it's not bad, like they say. It's just ridiculous. I don't know what these people are coming from with all of that hyperbolic review statements. It's silliness to me. This one is really good, but it is a very corn-oriented whiskey. And like I say, if If you got a problem with mellow corn, like if mellow corn is something that sets you off and you hate to hear about that and you hate the product, never buy this. Believe me, you don't want it. On the other hand, if you think you would like to try a product that seems like a milder version, 80 proof versus 100 proof, if you want to try something that seems like a much milder version of mellow corn, this might just be the whiskey for you. And I have no regrets buying it. I, in fact, really like it. And I'm glad I paid $19.99. I actually would not have paid any more than that for it. So that was my cutoff. I was reluctant to pay that. But then on the other hand, I can't get it anywhere, so I had to buy it. All right, so for that price. But I think it was a fair price. It was a fair price. So I got 3 wins under my belt, 2 losses. Not a good record out of 5, but I think it's going to improve. All right, y'all take care now. Bye-bye. See y'all soon.